Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're stepping into a world where music, faith, and mystery intertwine. We're talking about a powerful book. It is called Words from the Maestro, and it's written by a wonderful author. Her name is Joyce H. Hynes, and she brings us to the prestigious Abington Academy, where a group of talented students compete for a spot in an extraordinary musical experience with a cantankerous director, a high-stakes audition, and God's presence woven through every note. This is an inspiring journey of passion, purpose, and divine possibility. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Writers Branding for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below the interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Joyce, thank you so much for being our guest here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford, for inviting me in this wonderful experience. Thank you.
Well, it's wonderful to have you on the show. Do you have a musical background? Is that what inspired you to write this book?
Yes, I majored in music at the community college here in Portsmouth, Virginia. Some time ago, though, I taught music, guitar, and piano, and I was a music practitioner in a local hospital here in
Wonderful.
Portsmouth. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So you got a great, diverse musical background. So tell us a little bit about the story. Give us an overview of the book, if you would.
All right. The story takes place in West Virginia, in the mountains of West Virginia, and it's Abington Academy. It's a music school of animals and run by the cantankerous Ensemble Elk. He's the director, but he would much rather watch sports. And it's the opening day of the academy, and he, like I said, he would much rather watch sports. And in his office is a big picture window, and outside the picture window is a pond, and inside the pond is two clownfish.
Mm-hmm.
And they like to swim around and have a good time. And why the director is in the office there, they like to play around and spit up bubbles. So during during the auditions,
Mm-hmm.
the director, like I said, he doesn't like to be the director, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
He comes into the office, and he sits there, and while he's I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. While he's pondering watching sports, the bubbles are spit up by the clownfish,
Mm-hmm.
and in the bubbles are the Beatitudes.
Wow.
Patience. So, and of course, he's not very patient. He doesn't want to be there. So the other Beatitudes. So eventually, his attitude is changed.
Mm-hmm.
And the students are each letters of the alphabet,
Mm-hmm.
one by one. Like there is a Zarzula zebra,
Mm-hmm.
and she plays the zither. There is Pierre, who plays the piano.
Mm-hmm.
There is, I'm trying to think, there's the bear. He plays the banjo, and each
Right.
letter has an animal, a musical term, and an instrument of each letter. So that's what makes the book kind of different, because of the three combinations of the letters. I'm sorry, makes it kind of unique in
Yeah,
itself.
absolutely. Who's your target audience for this book?
Well, it was supposed to be young children, but as I got to writing, it got to be more intense.
Mm-hmm.
So middle age, middle school, or anybody who's interested in music.
Mhm.
It can be adults, it can be high school students, anybody with a love of music.
Yeah.
Um,
And a great faith as well, because faith is a big part of this story as well, right?
yes, it is because it's got a long-term faith in it. I'm trying to think how to explain that because with the Beatitudes in there, um, it's a heartfelt story.
Yeah. Those are the
It
lessons of Jesus, the Beatitudes, right?
the
Yeah.
Beatitudes
Yeah.
and what in today's world where there's so much of people not living right, where we need to be more kind to people, more compassionate.
Hmm.
In the story. That's kind of like the lessons that we all should be living more.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a hidden message in the story that we all should be more kind to people.
Well, that's a great message, an important message for people who are young and old, that we should be kind,
Absolutely.
no doubt. Talk to us a little bit about the character of Mr. Elmer Ensemble Elk and his role in
Elmer,
the story.
yes, like I said, he's the kind of person who would just be sitting in his desk with his feet up on the desk and watching, eating and playing sports and um, lazy.
Hmm.
He's just doesn't want to be there. He's not your workaholic by no means. He um, he just likes to be lazy.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
you
Tell us
know,
about building the world of Abington Academy. That is such a great setting that you created there.
well, my dad grew up in West Virginia in Putnam County, which is where the story takes place, and it's outside of Charleston, West Virginia.
Hmm.
It's on the banks of the not Potomac, but on the outside of Charleston,
Hmm.
and uh, and that's where my grandparents grew up. So that's what made me focus the story there in Academy.
Great.
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Is there a message you hope readers take away from this story?
The message is a message of love and peace and compassion for everybody.
Hmm.
We don't see that today. It's too much me-itis is what I call it.
Mhm.
People too much of into themselves instead of others
Yeah.
and reaching out to people.
Yeah, I like that. Me-itis. I'm going to have to steal that because that's very good. That's very good
Yeah.
indeed. Have you envisioned this book as a movie, perhaps?
I think it would make a really interesting movie.
Hmm.
I think it would be a great message for everybody. Um, I think it would be a great movie,
Yeah,
actually.
I think so too. I think it'd be very unique, very different, very compelling. And your message of goodwill, I think, is one that's needed today, particularly in the entertainment world where there's so much violence and so much of
Yes.
depravity that's portrayed on the screen. So I think we do need a wholesome story like this, no doubt. Is this your first time writing a book?
This was my very first book. I wrote it during the pandemic since I couldn't go anywhere. And and I enjoyed looking up the different instruments with each letter of the alphabet because you don't find too many instruments with the letter X except xylophone and
Exactly.
even Z for zither.
Mm.
And looking up the animals for for the different letters was kind of fun.
Hmm.
And looking up the different musical terms for each letter.
Yeah.
In the book is over 120 some musical terms, which
Mm.
are explained in the back of the book.
That's
So it's a learning book besides a good feel book, which you don't find much anymore.
yeah.
So there's a lot to learn and feel good about once you read the book.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your life outside of being an author.
Well, I was a musician.
Hmm.
Um, I learned to play I was also an activity director in nursing homes.
Hmm.
And I learned to play the dulcimer after watching somebody play it. And so I was a guitarist, a piano, and a dulcimer player. So I always considered myself a strung out musician,
That's
playing
great.
nothing but stringed instruments.
That's great. What is a dulcimer anyway?
A dulcimer is a mountain instrument. This one particular was a hammered dulcimer.
Hmm.
It had 58 strings going
Mm.
intertwined, and you played with these little sticks.
Well, that sounds so you almost like a xylophone. You bang the
Sort of, kind of,
yeah.
yes. Uh-huh.
Amazing, amazing. So you learned that you picked that up just from observing, huh?
Yes, I did.
Amazing. Well, you obviously have a good ear for music and a good musical brain, no doubt.
Well, I don't know about that, but it was really something to learn. And as a music practitioner, I played for dying patients in the
Hmm.
hospital, and that was actually my calling.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful that they spent moments with you, a good person, a kind-hearted person, and somebody who's talented at music as well to bring a little joy into the last moments on earth. So I think that's wonderful. Is that an instrument that is associated with the West Virginia area, the dulcimer?
Yes, it's kind of like a mountain music. Yeah, you would, the people in the Appalachian area, yes.
Yeah. Do you think
Mhm.
music can be a form of spiritual connection? Tell us about that.
Oh, absolutely. Music it comes, I feel like it comes from the heart. It connects to just about anybody.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. And
I
certainly a
feel it.
big part of worship is the music that's played as well, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I continue to play it at the church I attend, and I play the piano there. And absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. What was it like writing the book? You said you started writing during the pandemic. Did it just flow? Do you have to struggle at times? Tell us what the writing process was like.
Well, it was kind of like a God-giving, it just came to me. I sat at McDonald's and wrote it.
Hmm.
My cat would bother me, so I actually wrote it at McDonald's, and it would just kind of flow. And uh,
Although you're making me hungry now, that sounds perfect right about now. That'd be great. That'd be great. What do you hope readers, or what kind of emotions do you hope they experience while reading your book?
well, I think the message is get rid of the meitis in you.
Yeah. Who was your first reader? Who did you share the book with when you first got it, when you first completed it?
Oh, probably one of my good friends and the people at McDonald's.
Like,
Well, it's on the banks of the Kanawha River,
mhm.
and that's where my grandparents, right there on the banks of the river, there where they were buried. And
Mm.
my uh, my
Yeah.
so yeah, but they're all gone.